Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and this video is going to be basically a compilation of all Mythic raid testing that we've done from Mythic Liberation of Undermine. Now, usually I put out a video on each boss with a few attempts, some wipes, different specs, give or take, whatever. But Blizzard tested all 7 bosses in Mythic in about a day and a half. So I'm not putting out 7 videos on that. They won't do very well either. This is going to be one big video with timestamps for each boss. Now, I'm going to talk over it a little bit as well from like a Warlock POV. If you're not a Warlock or don't want to hear it, that's okay. You can just mute it or not listen, because the other testing will be just me rambling live on stream. So either way, every boss is going to be here. There's timestamps. It'll be like the best pull, or best 2 pulls we had, depending on how long the boss was and how good prog was. But yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching. If you guys want any week awards or add-ons, also Twitch, Discord, Twitter links, all stuff down here. Website, we can get them all for free. And oh yeah, if you're a Warlock as well, the 11.1 PTR Warlock spreadsheet is indeed live on Patreon if you guys want early access to that. The tier 3 Felguard rank or higher gets it, but like always, it goes public before the patch comes out and all that stuff. Let's get it going. Now, as mentioned, it's going to be a bit more of a Warlock POV for raid testing here, but at the same time, these are our best pulls from Mythic raid testing. So if you don't like Warlock stuff or don't want to hear it, you can just sort of mute it, I guess, either way, and watch the pulls as they are. But yeah, so getting into it, the first boss here is Vexie and the Gear Grinders. If you are here for the Warlock stuff, Hellcaller. Going to be a recurring theme over the course of these bosses. Hellcaller is very strong here. This boss, similar to Heroic, has these bikes, trikes that spawn in, and will have these red lines right here going across the map, which is their like trajectory, their travel path, I suppose. Basically, you want to kill these ads, and when you do, they leave the bike behind. And on Mythic, one of the changes is you need to take oil, which you pick up from red circles that spawn. Once you soak them, right here, you get a debuff that you have basically a can of oil on you. You bring it to the bike. It has a 0 out of 2 bar over it. I don't have a can here. If I did, I'll be able to walk over to the bike. And as long as you get near it, it actually deposits it into the bike, which, you know, once you reach 2 stacks, you can actually activate the bike and launch it into the boss. Doing so will remove 1 stack of plating on the boss. Once you remove 6, the boss takes increased damage for 45 seconds. That's about roughly a minute 45 into the fight. On top of that, you get these random fire pools that drop, not these, the ones that chase players around, which can be dropped on top of the oil pools that are on the floor here, and it will basically remove the oil slick from the ground. If you run a bike through an oil slick, it will stop the bike early and not hit the actual boss. Now, when you get into the second phase of this fight, when the boss plating is removed, you'll see ads spawning in that come in and try to repair the boss, which obviously they can be kicked, stunned, CC'd, so on and so forth. It's going to be a large ad, though, that comes in with a big blue circle around it, which we'll see in a moment or so here, that needs to be killed. Ads that are in that blue circle will be basically CC immune. It seemed like it was a little buggy this time around. I think some could be kicked or things at times. The large ad was sort of like CCable as well. I believe Dratnos mentioned in his video also that was. But looking more at Warlock stuff, this is going to be a very strong destruction fight. If you're looking at playing Hellcaller, which you should be on this fight, Wither is exceptionally strong. Whether you're playing Affliction or Destruction, Hellcaller, Wither is going to be, I would say, at this current point in time, the de facto choice. Here comes the Mythic ad in the back coming in, which makes these other ads are going to cast Repair. As you can see here, their cast cannot be kicked, basically immune. Kill the big ad, or I guess move him out of the radius of the smaller ones. You can kick them again. You do this, rinse and repeat, kill the boss, so on and so forth. We'll probably make a video later on, getting into the patch, or I guess later part of PTR, rehashing what's good in these fights, but Hellcaller is very strong here. I played Destro with Mayhem and just cleaved things down and blasted the boss. It's a good first boss, I'd say. Probably a solid 8 out of 10. Not like Paraguru levels of fun, which is really a really good first boss. But it's very solid. Mechanically, not too challenging, but different enough from Heroic where it's more exciting and engaging, and I'd say a pretty well built encounter. Mythic Cauldron of Carnage is the second boss in testing here. Once you kill Vexie, you can choose to go to any of the next 3. I think it's 3. It could even be 4 bosses, but Cauldron is likely the second boss you're going to encounter. It seems to be probably the easiest when it comes to tuning based on the next few. And this fight is similar to Heroic, but a bit different. Now, these blue pools are spawning under my feet here. You have to move out of them, obviously, but that blue bar to the right of my character there, once it reaches 100% or the bar is totally full, you will be stunned. Once you reach 70%, that circle goes around you to say, hey, basically, you're close to stunning yourself. Don't do that. Now, if you're standing on the gorilla side, he gives you the electric debuffs part of the fight. If you're on the T-Rex side, it gives you the fire debuff. You can see Angler has, I believe, a fire debuff. They're probably multi-dotting or standing close after the bosses where they're getting both debuffs. Now, the mythic change in this fight, you might see it in a minute here from the actual T-Rex side, the fire side. The large, I guess, targeted beam he launches has 3 prongs, like a fork. I like eating. Just basically drop it and dodge. It's the same thing as the lines in Necrotic Wake, basically, or on the third boss, like the hook. Once you drop it, you can move out of it. Just don't cleave the gorilla side if you can avoid that. Outside of that, there are these little ads that spawn in. They're like toys that run around. Yeah, tiny Torque and tiny whatever the other one is right there, the little ads on the ground. Once they do this transition here at max energy and have their clash in the middle, the toys that are on the ground that have not been destroyed will also clash and do raid-wide damage and apply a dot, which you see here. Now, basically, to get them to remove or to despawn or whatever, you have to kick them. Kicking just basically come close to them. It'll knock them in the direction you're heading. Once you knock like Torque ads, the gorilla ads, towards dinosaur ads, they let you charge one another and blow up. They apply a dot to the raid, but it's not too hard to heal through as long as you don't overstack it. If you pop many at one time, you'll die. So if you leave some alive before the intermission comes around and they all pop at once, you're going to die. Besides that, nothing super different. We played Hellcaller, Destro, I think here. Played Af at the start. Both seem solid. It's a good Hellcaller fight. Wither's very strong, 2 targets. I think Af is probably fine here. If you stand in the middle, you can have your tier bonus or Jackposs apply EUA to both targets, but being in the middle also means you're getting debuffs from both bosses, so dealing with fire and electric mechanics and electric movement is very unforgiving. So it might be, it's sort of how Amalgamation Chamber was in Aberrus, but even more punishing if you multi-dot. So I would assume in early prog, it's probably not tuned very difficult or very tightly, so you can just kill it by basically single targeting the bosses down, swapping or whatever. But regardless, if you want to multi-dot, you can. Keep that in mind. Probably just Destro is the better play here. You can Havoc one, run to the other side and run back, circle gateway, so on and so forth. But it's a fun fight, I think. Some changes need to be made to the actual smaller toys, probably, but it's a fun fight. Not too bad. Thematically, also very, very cool. Rik Reverb is the 3rd or 4th boss you'll encounter. I'll be honest, this boss is a bit messy in testing. There are basically like these sound pylons that will drop, which you need to drop, bait here, dodge, move away from, and then click to keep their energy below max. On Mythic, there'll also be these shock debuffs that go out every so often, which players need to basically come in contact with one another to remove the shield on these sound amplifiers. Ads are spawning here, which you need to burn down quickly, or they will actually blow up and hurt the raid a lot. They had a lot of health on Mythic. These discs here, you need to dodge. They used to be, if you get hit by 2, you get mind controlled. I believe there's still some kind of mind control with those discs, but I don't know how it works exactly. It was changed, and they were a bit buggy here. Now, these debuffs coming out here, these are the 4 like zap debuffs. Once your circles despawn, coming in contact with another player will indeed clear the shield on that nullifier, which should happen right about now. Shield is cleared, and the nullifier can indeed be used in the intermission, which we don't really get to very often, but regardless, when you get there, they become important because the boss will basically shield himself. You will use the nullifiers that become empowered to knock yourself over the wave, similar to Ansharek. Now, on top of that, there's a tank frontal beam to soak right here with everybody else. Spread out, don't overcleave, keep killing ads, rinse and repeat. The boss is very buggy during testing, and honestly not my favorite boss overall. I played Destro here, just Mayhem Destro. You can play Havoc Destro too, both are probably fine. You couldn't really bait the red swirly pools that spawn. Some would spawn near melee and some would spawn way in the back of the room, near nobody else. You could bait the amplifier spawns, which you see one in melee there and one in the back of the room. These circles here were not baitable. There's 4 on the boss and 1 probably back in New Serbia in the back of the room. We can't really see. They need to be killed quickly though. They have a lot of health, and if they don't, they blow up and put a basically a dot. I think it's a dot. It's a lot of damage on the raid that basically kills you. The fight seems to be rinse and repeat for the most part, but it seems a little hectic, a little modeled, and just probably needs a bit of retweaking and or tuning. Whatever is like, I mean, you're probably gonna play Destro here. Hellcaller seems fine as well. Obviously, you can kata some bombs when they spawn, precast kata, pop 11s if it lines up, so on and so forth. Demo doesn't seem bad here if they're stacked. AF seems too slow to burn the ads down. AF still living in, you know, WAD as far as toolkit's concerned at this point. It's a Destro Demo fight, I'd say overall, but Hellcaller, once again here, like the last two fights, very strong. Stix Bunk Junker is likely the third or fourth boss you'll encounter in the raid, and this is actually the part of the video where the bosses become a lot more fun. This boss was buggy in testing, but will be a fun boss when it's not, and honestly, even during Heroic, when it was like half functional, it was still very, very fun. Players are randomly selected to become, I guess, you roll on a bowl of garbage, basically, soaking other pools of garbage up. I am garbage IRL, so I relate with this boss. With random spread mechanics, fire comes out, dodge these swirlies. The boss will frequently spawn these territorial, I guess, bombshells on the garbage pools here. Now, the bombshells need to be brought to 75% health for the players that are rolling on the balls, you can see right here, to soak the medium-sized garbage pools. If they run into a bomb that is not at 75 or lower, that's on a garbage pool, it will knock them off their bomb, and you can't soak the pools. Leaving pools up is bad. You want to soak small pools into medium pools into large pools or trash piles, however you want to word it. There's a bar that will spawn on your screen when you soak the actual pools when you're on your rolling orb that shows like your, I guess, trash power. Once again, you know, I sort of relate to that. You'll see when you soak enough small pools, the actual bar will reach basically half, 50%, which you can soak medium pools. And I believe once you reach max, no, 50% is medium pools, and when you reach max, you want to basically run into the boss or, you know, another priority target, and it will blow up and do some damage. Now, besides that, there's spread mechanics here. The boss will fly into the area every so often and do an immune phase for the most part. A lot of random ads spawn in as well. You can see right here, I'm getting a junk boss, so I'll roll. You can like sort of pre-turn where you want to start your path. So I turn away from the actual party here, soaking small pools here, looking at that bar getting bigger and bigger. We're at half here. We can now soak medium pools. There's a medium pool there, right there. So I go right there into that bombshell. As you can see, I think maybe, I couldn't really tell. It likely wasn't at 75% health. So that means, hey, I should have waited and gone to a different pool. You want to get those low if you're not in an orb soaking pools by just DPSing them. Once you do, they're soakable. You can move on with life and go from there. I played Destro here. It seems like a good Destro fight. You can play AF here with the tier set. It makes some sense, but once again, AF is just, the ads are sporadically like spawning in or sort of spread out. You can get good kata value on some ads when they spawn in the pools. Honestly, even Demonology might not be terrible here. A lot of stat cleave, but if you're trying to get like bombshell cleave, Destra, once again, can just, it's much better. Destra's a better dot spec. Wither's good. Hellcaller is good. Malevolence is good. Havoc cleave, it's good. So we'll see where it goes. It's a fun fight though, honestly. When the bugs are fixed, it'll be probably a banger fourth boss. Sprocketmonger Lock and Stock is one of the best bosses I've ever tested. This boss is going to be very polarizing. People will like it, people will hate it. I like this boss a lot on Heroic and thought it was very, very good. I like it even more on Mythic. Now, Mythic, the big difference here, you can see there are red and blue players that are assigned debuffs here. It is similar to Soaking Court in a sense. So if you touch another player with an opposing color debuff, you don't kill them. You just knock them. It does like 1 million damage, not a big deal, but this fight is like Painsmith meets Black Fuse meets a lot of just other random fights in the past that have been a lot of fun with traps and bombs and everything else. It's a good fight. You're having to dodge a bunch of traps that come in, lightning, rockets, fire beams, moving belts, right? Now, on top of that, the Mythic change, you have obviously blue and red debuffs here. These bombs spawn in. There are 2 blue and 2 red in predetermined locations. So you're going to want to stagger these. Popping a bomb puts a debuff in the raid. Blue pops blue, red pops red, which, so you want to have players sort of assign or taking responsibility to say, hey, I'm popping, you know, blue 1, blue 2, red 3, red 4. That would be easy to do if everybody got the same color debuff every time, but you don't. It's random on pull. On top of that, debuffs will swap. As you can see here, I had red, I'm getting red again. Some players had red and got blue. Some have blue and got red. So you need to be aware of where you are when the color swap is coming. The color swap is coming, and just be in the best position possible to not knock other players off the edge. Also, magnets in the belt can pull you in. This fight is full of traps, but it's fun. Lightning, with fire beams, with magnets, with things moving. It's a lot of fun, right? It's actually really, really enjoyable. Now, we didn't get too far into this fight. There's a bit of, like, I guess you can say RNG based on who gets the actual debuffs. Some people like to pop bombs more others. It makes things more difficult, but the intermission does pull you to the sides of the room, and then it spawns bombs way in the front of the room. And he popped as well. So some coordination here is needed. Like I said, having locks and mages, blinks, and circles to get those quickly. You can see it in the front of the room over there. I will say overall, this is a single target fight. For Warlock, whatever's best in single target that brings mobility, you're going to want to play. Now, currently it's just Destro. Destro, Shadowburn, mobility, very good, very strong. If Demonology gets buffed or is best in single target, probably play it here. If AF is good by some miracle of God, which I'm hoping happens, you can play it here. But whatever's best in single target that brings a good bit of like mobility, you're probably just gonna play here. This is like the one pure patchwork fight in the raid, and honestly, it's a banger. One-arm Bandit is actually really hectic on Mythic, but in a fun way. On Heroic, it felt like the fight was almost a bit like just lacking for range. You sort of just stand there and honestly just kill the boss, unless you're one of the two players launching coins back from the back of the room. Coins spawn here. If you stand very close to those coins, they'll debuff you, giving you a 10% damage increase. Besides that, there are going to be ads that spawn. We have 3 coming in here. Now, you're going to want to kill 2 of these 3. You're going to choose 2 of the 3 to kill. And you want to deposit the coins they drop into the boss. You can't do the same pattern of 2 more than once, or the raid wipes. Now, these ads will shield at 20% on Mythic until they are hit with a coin. So these coins that are rolling across the room from the boss, when they hit the wall, you can see in the middle there in the back of the room, a player needs to go back to that coin, basically stand near it, you get an extra action button, launch it back towards an ad to break the shield on the ad, which if you stand near it will also give you a buff for damage again, and then the ad can die. Once the ad dies, pick up the actual coin, put it in the boss, and that's where it chooses what's going to happen next mode-wise on the boss. Now, when the boss does his big hit ability as well, he drops, basically there's more lightning coils in the room, more area of denial. Things just come faster on Mythic. These ads were spaced out exactly 1 minute apart on Heroic. I think they're like 43 seconds or so on Mythic. So we played Hellcaller here in Heroic, and Malevolence with Hellcaller felt great, exactly a minute apart. Here, it's not a minute. Now, it still feels good here. Still a good Wither fight. Still a good Destro fight. I mean, you can play AF here with Wither and Malevolence and all that as well. Good Wither fight. Wither spawns in, pop Malevolence. You're cranking big damage. But the ads are spread here. It's a pain to go Agony, Wither, Agony, Wither, Agony, Wither 10 times over the course of the fight when ads are spread out. I played Destro here. I played Mayhem on some pulls, Havoc on others. Both felt good. Havoc feels a bit more like controllable when you have 2 ads you want to kill specifically. At the same time, Mayhem proccing on a shielded ad that you're not killing versus 2 prio ads is a bit annoying at times, but it feels like a very, very good Destro fight. This feels like a tried and true Destro fight. Destro can control what's happening here. Good Destro fight, good Hellcaller fight, good just Havoc, Mayhem, Cleave fight. Feels really good. The fight's actually a lot of fun too. Phase 2 is basically like a sort of DPS check, which we didn't see in actual testing, but it's a good fight. The later you go into the raid, the more and more fun, I should say, the bosses get. One-arm Bandit is also a banger. Speaking of bangers, Mugsy is going to be a really good fight once there is a strategy laid out for this fight, and it's likely tuned a bit better. Most guilds opt to not test this fight very much because it is going to be a fight where, hey, a guild in the race designs a strat, then guilds below that can employ that strat and kill this boss. It is 0 to 100 just on pull. On pull, there's chain lightnings going out, soaks need to be soaked, bombs are spawning in. Mythic changes from this fight. There's basically like the iron side, like, I don't know, the brown side, whatever you want to call it, where basically you need to have the entire raid on Mythic swap to one side to trigger the bosses, like basically like, you know, phase swap, whatever. Iron side versus, you know, the brown side kind of mechanics. Heroic doesn't have that. On the actual like brown side as well, there are these cages that come out with ads in the middle of them. You have to use the bombs from the iron side to break the cages on the brown side. Now, In the journal, it said the spears spawn on the brown side here, you'll see in a minute, wouldn't break the actual cages. They did in testing, but it's likely a bug. We're not really sure. However, on top of that, if you get debuffed from the spear in this phase, if you don't go into the actual cage, you're sliding. Like there's ice under your feet, like think Snarth. That doesn't go away until you go back to the iron side and do another mechanic, which I forgot what it was, honestly, because, yeah, there's so much going on in this fight. Now, as far as Lock's concerned, the cool thing, you can Havoc the boss and then go into the cage and cleave the actual ads down. These ads are LOS. These cages are LOS. You can see in the bomb, right, walking in right there, will actually clear the wall. It sort of just crumbles right there. But the unfortunate part is that when it does, well, and we also had soaks coming out here. There's a lot of soaks, a lot of Armageddon soaks. This boss is going to be a lot of fun. Most guilds didn't test this very long, and the ones that didn't really get very far. But I can tell you, it looks to be a good Destro fight. A lot of like spread cleave, there are ads that spawn. Also ads on the iron side that are shielded, have to be broken somehow to DPS them. I forgot how, honestly. This fight's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be good. A lot of changes from Heroic to Mythic, but we'll see where it goes. Mugsy continues to follow suit with things like Tendril and whatever boss is last tier, Silken Court. Yeah, it'll be a banger. But that wraps it up, guys. I'll probably put a video out talking about these bosses again in about a month or so when the raid's getting closer to coming out, give or take. Estimating Feb 25th for the patch, March 4th for the raid. Could be a week later, a bit earlier. I don't know. Things will change a lot, but these are my thoughts on them, and also like the general recap of Mythic testing, because there were 7 bosses in 2 days, and I'm not making 17 videos. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.